My name's Steve Moruzzi. I'm the National Training Manager for Laars Heating Systems. This is a six-part series of understanding the navigation of the Laars Linc display. Here in part one, we're going to cover the home screen, padlock symbols, and Quickstart. The home screen shows all the operational status of the boiler and run status. Here at set point, we see CSP, that stands for calculated set point, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But just below that, you'll see CH1 and CH2. You'll also see DHW. This is for a hydronic boiler. So this image is showing a hydronic boiler. We will show images for a volume water heater soon. So what is CH1 and CH2? Well, CH stands for central heat. And we give you options here of two different set points. An example might be a building needs 180 degrees in one section of the building, but another section only needs 160 or 140. So you can get in and program two different set points. However, you will need to wire up on the terminal strip two different TT calls or enable calls for central heat. What's in green here is showing CH1. So whichever one's in demand will show up in green. So that's why we see CH1 in green. The way it's defaulted is CH1 has priority over CH2. So you want your higher set point on CH1. And when we have a demand, your calculated set point will read whatever that demand is. So in our example of 145 degrees. However, calculated set point, that value can change. An example of that is if we're utilizing outdoor reset, we ship each boiler with an outdoor sensor. If it's a 50-degree day out, you may not need 180. So if it's 50 degrees, you might be able to get by with 130. So as your outdoor reset curve changes, your calculated set point would change as well. Next, we're showing pump status. So here we have the boiler pump on, system pump on, and a DHW pump is off. Next, we're showing the combustion chamber or heat exchanger. And here we'll see we have 107-degree inlet temperature, 134-degree outlet temperature. We're showing a flame pattern because in this image, the boiler is actually running. So we have inlet sensors and outlet sensors. Just below the combustion chamber symbol here, you'll see the delta T symbol showing a 27-degree delta T. So all of this information is right here on the home screen. At the very top, you'll see 127-degree Fahrenheit. What that is if a product has a stack sensor, such as a condensing boiler would have a stack or flue sensor in it, that's what that reading would be. Products like a pennant boiler that is it's a non-condensing boiler would not have a stack sensor, and that image or that value would not appear there. Here we're looking at the boiler status. We'll see that the boiler is running. We have an actual rate of 73% and a target rate of 65%. So if this boiler was running, your actual rate would start to modulate back to the target rate. Just below that is OAT. That is your outdoor air temperature. And if you had that sensor installed outside, you'd be able to look at the outdoor temperature. In this example is 38 degrees. Below that is flame. That's our flame signal. And below that, we're showing CO2 and O2. Now, CO2 and O2 are only on products like the Magnatherm HTD and the Magnatherm FT. There we utilize O2 trim and we have O2 sensors. So if on those type products, you'd be looking at CO2, but other products like the pennant boiler, you would not see it. Now over here, I'm showing an image for a pennant boiler or a staging boiler. And here you'll see we have 4 stages on. So we would have up to 4 stages. In this example, it has 2 blowers. Smaller pennants, a 500 and 750 only have 2 stages with a single blower. A 1 million would have 3 stages, so up to 4 stages. And again, that'll show you all the boiler status. Below that is OAT for outdoor air temperature. And just below that, we're showing cascaded leader or master of 2 boilers. So there's an example of that right on the home status on the home screen. Next, we'll talk about is the padlock symbols. In here, you're looking at a padlock symbol that's unlocked, and it has the letter U, and that letter U is for user. And that's how it's defaulted leaving the factory. And there are 3 different modes for the padlock. Lock mode means no adjustments can be made. User mode, which again is defaulted how it leaves the factory, you're limited to just set point adjustments and date and time. Very limited. That's more for the maintenance personnel to get in and maybe change a set point. However, the installer, service technician, a startup agent, they want to be under the installer level password. And there in that image, you'll see there's an icon. That's the installer mode. That password is 17. And basically, you just click on the padlock symbol. A keypad will come up on your touch screen. Type in 17, enter. And once you enter it, your padlock symbol would unlock with the letter I. Now, lock mode can only be locked from the installer level, okay? So if you've got somebody in there playing around with different programming and what have you, you can get in and lock that screen.
Next, I'm going to click the icon for Quickstart. Now here's all the icons that you can get in and make changes and adjustments. Now under Quickstart, this is typically for the maintenance personnel. They just want to get in and change a set point. A lot of these parameters will be locked and you will not be able to make changes, and I'll show that an example in a second. So under CH, again, we have two different CH set points, and I'm going to choose CH1. An example here under Quickstart, a user, which the padlock is reading U, they would not be able to get in and edit to disable it. However, they can get in and make a simple set point adjustment. On our adjustment screen here, we're showing the set point currently, and here is our range from 40 degrees to 210. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back this out, and I have an option here. I can either use my up or down arrows, or I can back this out with the back arrow. In this example, I'll type in 180. This icon here is for the enter button, and when I press that, it prompts me to choose, do I wish to save these changes? And now I can click OK, and I'll have saved those changes. If I go back and now go to CH2, I'll change this set point, for example, to 160, and I will save it. Now when I go back to the home screen, you'll see my values change. CH1 is now reading 180, and CH2, if you need it for your building, will read 160. Again, if you only need one demand for building, you're only going to land one set of wires for TT onto CH1. That's where it would be. And again, we have a calculated set point of 180. Back to Quickstart, other options here in this example. This is a hydronic boiler, and we can get in and have DHW for an indirect on a hydronic boiler. You could come in and make that change if you needed. So I'll type in 140, for example, click the enter button, and OK. The next icon over is outdoor reset. You cannot disable it here under the user password. You would need the installer password, and I will cover that under configuration. But you would come in and set your max outdoor temperature, your min outdoor temperature, your min water temperature, and again, CH2, if you had two demands, we could get in and set that. You also have warm weather shutdown. Warm weather shutdown is if we have a hydronic boiler and hypothetically it's 70 degrees out, and for some reason you have a demand in the building, it will not allow the boiler to fire for heating. If you did have domestic hooked up to it, you could still run domestic. Anti-short cycle. This is defaulted right here for 60 seconds. It's up to 240 seconds. What that is if you have a demand for a boiler, a water heater, and you come up to temperature and it shuts off, it'll wait 60 seconds if you get another demand for that heater before it fires. So it's anti-short cycle. And lastly is date and time. So currently our date, it's saying, is Tuesday, the 5th month, 5th day of 2020, and 3:32 in the afternoon. So very simply, you can come in and choose your hour. Here I'll drop this back to, let's say 11 a.m. And we'll say it is 11:30. So I'll type in 30. You have to actually hit the save button, by the way. So on the first one where I did hour, you can see it did not save. So I'll go back to 11. I'll hit the icon to save it. You sure you want to make the change? Click yes. So now we will be reading 11:30 shortly. And then obviously your month, your day, and the year, okay? And now you'll see that it actually changed to 11:30 a.m.
Please don't forget to go in and watch part 2 of the 6-part series. All of the information we're covering is under download documents for the installation operation manuals right at laars.com. Thank you.